Welcome to Nightfall Horrors 002.
Have you ever taken a wrong exit on a lonely American highway and ended up somewhere that shouldn't exist? In October 2024, while driving through the fog-covered backroads of Nebraska, I found a town called Black Hollow. The problem was, no map showed it, no GPS could find it. And the people living there, they had all died nearly 50 years ago. What happened that night is something I still can't explain, and if you hear the church bell before sunrise, it's already too late.
My name is Ethan Walker, and this happened in October of 2024. I was driving through western Nebraska after visiting a friend in Colorado. It was almost midnight, and the interstate was completely empty. The weather forecast had mentioned fog, but what rolled in that night felt different. Within minutes, the road ahead disappeared behind a thick gray wall. My GPS suddenly lost signal. No internet, no radio, nothing. I kept driving until I saw a rusty highway sign emerge from the fog. Welcome to Black Hollow, population 312. I had never heard of Black Hollow before. The strange thing was that I wasn't supposed to be anywhere near a town. According to my route, there shouldn't have been anything for another 40 miles. But I was exhausted. I needed gas, and I needed a place to sleep. So I took the exit. As I entered the town, I noticed something unsettling. Every building looked frozen in time. Old gas stations, old diners, old cars parked along the street. It looked like America from the late 1970s. And yet, every light in town was on. But there wasn't a single person outside. Not one. That's when I saw movement behind the window of an old diner. Someone was watching me.
I parked outside the diner and stepped inside. A bell above the door rang. The room instantly went silent. About 20 people were sitting inside. Every single one of them turned toward me at exactly the same time. Nobody smiled, nobody spoke. They just stared. The waitress slowly approached. She looked pale, almost sick. "You're not supposed to be here," she whispered. I laughed nervously. "Just looking for gas?" Her face immediately changed, almost like fear. "You need to leave before sunrise." Before I could ask what she meant, every customer suddenly stood up. At the exact same moment, the chairs scraped across the floor together. One sound, one movement, like they were all connected somehow. The waitress leaned closer. "Don't let them see you after sunrise." Then the lights flickered, and when they came back on, the waitress was gone. Every customer was gone. The diner was completely empty, as if nobody had ever been there. I ran back outside. The streets were empty again. Then I heard it. A church bell. One loud ring echoing across the town. Dong, dong, dong. The sound seemed to come from a church standing at the end of Main Street. I don't know why, but I felt pulled toward it, like something wanted me there. As I approached, I noticed dozens of names carved into the stone wall. hundreds of names. Underneath them was a date, October 17, 1978. The same date repeated over and over. Every name, same date. Suddenly, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. The townspeople were standing in the street, all of them, completely silent, watching me. They weren't blinking, they weren't moving, just staring. Then every head slowly tilted toward the church, as if they were telling me to go inside. So I did, and what I found there made my blood run cold. Inside the church was a basement, and inside that basement were newspaper clippings, photographs, police reports, everything covered in dust. One headline immediately caught my attention. Black Hollow destroyed by fire, no survivors found. The article was dated October 17, 1978. I felt my stomach drop. The entire town had burned down. Everyone died. Every man, every woman, every child. The town hadn't existed for nearly 50 years. My hands were shaking as I looked through old photographs. The faces in those pictures were the same people I'd seen in the diner, the same people standing outside. Then I noticed a final photograph, a group picture taken hours before the fire. And standing among them was me. My face, my clothes, everything. The photo had been taken decades before I was born, and written underneath it were 6 words. He returns every October. Then the church bell rang again, this time directly above me, and the basement door slammed shut. I heard voices outside, hundreds of voices whispering my name. Ethan, Ethan, Ethan. I forced the basement door open and ran. The entire town was waiting for me, standing in the streets, watching. The sky was beginning to brighten. Sunrise. Then something horrifying happened. The townspeople started changing. Their skin cracked, their faces darkened, burn marks spread across their bodies. The smell of smoke filled the air. Within seconds, they looked exactly like people who had died in a fire, and every one of them was staring at me. The church bell rang one final time. Then the fog returned, thicker than before. I ran blindly through it until I found my car. I drove without stopping. Hours later, I reached the interstate. The fog vanished. The GPS returned. Everything seemed normal. When I got home, I searched for Black Hollow. Nothing. No records, no maps, no history. It was as if the town never existed. But every October 17th, at exactly midnight, my phone loses signal, and from somewhere far away, I hear a church bell ringing in the fog. Dong, dong, dong. And every year, it sounds a little closer.
This video is over, but the story isn't, because Nahid Hassan was never found. And if your phone turns on by itself tonight, just know you've been chosen. Subscribe to Nightfall Horrors 002. because you're not safe anymore.